Hi everybody, so this is the third time that I recorded a video outside. I look like I'm in the Everglades because it's raining outside and it is very humid. It's like 90 degrees and it's rainy, but yeah. I'm having a problem because I have said this and I'm gonna say it again because I like it. I think of the time that I allow myself to record, like flipping on the donut, like donuts are fresh light. And when I'm done recording, I think of that scene in Spirited Away where Haiku is like saying, "You have to get across the bridge," and then Chihiro is like, "Water," and then it's too late. So that's the kickstart of the story. So there's that. Secondly, I want to apologize for saying viewers in my descriptions and potentially in videos, I don't remember. The reason I'm apologizing are because by saying the word viewer, I reduce you guys to just what you bring me or what you do, and that's against what I philosophize. I don't know if that sounds academic in a bad way, but basically I believe that words have meaning and they should be used very carefully, and viewers is not the right word. It should be friends or engagers or something like that, hence why I switched to friends. So that was a mistake. I'm not going to go back and change my descriptions. I'm just going to move on from it and accept that it was a mistake and I can change. That's the good thing about these videos, is that they change with me learning more. Thirdly, I wanted to say that I think of all these insights after my recording video time is done, that I hold myself to. But I was thinking that that's actually probably a good thing, because why is it that I think that I have to expel all these thoughts from my head to share? Because then it seems like I'm like being hypocritical and just muddling the waters with more ideas. And it's like, no, I should be like filtering through them and being like, okay, this is on the internet. Like, if, like, for example, I wanted to mention that what I said about the living and remembering self, that was Danny Kahneman. But like, if someone who engaged with what I said found that interesting, you guys would just look up living self versus remembering self and you would have discovered that for yourself. So I'm trying to remember that everything that I say, like, I don't have to, like, I think my problem is that I'm still trying to prove myself and be like, no, I have this information, like, trust me. Like, I think I'm almost trying to subconsciously build my ethos and say a bunch of things so you guys trust what I'm saying. But I think that that's a mistake. I think that I'm still, well, clearly I'm still learning. You never stop learning, and if you do, then you died, because you're always supposed to be learning, because we're always in the world. Like Heidegger says, we're always beings in the world. That's what it is for you to be a human. It's to take part in the world around you and to continuously sense, and take in what we hear, touch, see, whatever. So yeah. So by giving myself a certain window to talk, it's almost like a safeguard for filtering the ideas that I would probably just be creating more noise, and we don't need that on the internet. So I'm going to try to centralize, starting now. The thing that I really wanted to say is a lot of these insights that I've had before, and when I have them again, it's like I'm recollecting them in the Platonic sense. Platonic meaning in reference to Plato, because he said that, like, he believed that the soul is only something, the soul he believed was immortal, so learning was recollection because the soul had lived before. I'm not really making a soul point about the existence or non-existence of a soul. I'm just saying that a lot of these ideas that I think are new are not, because I don't really think any ideas are new. And when I feel really overwhelmed or I feel lost in sense of like purpose or like bigger life questions where it's like, wait, where you stop and you actually are slowing down and you're like, why am I doing this? And then you need to like recenter yourself in a way. I look to like, that's why I actually focus on Aristotle so much, because I personally believe that like ancient ideas are often like, it's like a kind of Occam's razor, and I know that that's Middle Ages, but like Occam's razor was that what involves the least amount of assumptions, and thus the simplest option is usually the best one, and that's true on the ACT, and for the English section at least. I know that because I tutor for the ACT. I mean, you have to do some things for money, so I'm not saying that you can't just, philosophize and live like Diogenes, and I mentioned that before, but anyways, so that's why I focus a lot on the Temple of Apollo 3 ideas. It's like, know thyself, nothing in excess, and pledge brings folly, or something like that. Pledge brings ruin. And I remind myself of that, and I say it in different ways, because I say it in different ways to remind myself, because repetition's good for learning, but also I say it in different ways because repetition and saying things in different ways is good for teaching. So it's a double-edged sword in the sense that I'm remembering it, and hopefully I'm sharing it, and then we're all improving together, like we go on together. And that's the all is one, but you have to understand yourself first, and that's, again, indicative of what I've been trying to say this whole time. So I wanted to say that. I also wanted to say that the most successful like TED Talks and things that are trying to make motion in the right direction in society, I've noticed often focus on one thing. So if there isn't a clear takeaway, then I'm just wasting your guys' time. And I've said my thoughts on time and how you can't ever buy it. You never know how much time you have. So it's really important that we slow down and we take our time, but we don't waste our time. And time shouldn't be used as just a mode of getting from point A to B, and that's what it seems it's been reduced to in society as of right now, because it's like we're just trying to get somewhere, but we're missing the journey. And although that might sound cliche, it isn't. The journey has value, and sometimes the journey is the value. The destination is not as valuable, because it's what you learn along the way. It's what you pick up. And that's discussed in the movie Soul, but it's also just something that you can discuss or that you can just observe from living. So like when you so I've climbed a mountain, I've mentioned that I think, but like the destination at the top of the mountain, that is not what I spend my time thinking about, because it was cloudy when I got up there, and yeah, some of the views were pretty and I got some nice pictures, but it's like, no, I think about I think about like almost slipping on the way up, and I think about how proud I am of myself for persevering when I was like almost fantasizing about twisting my ankle so I could be airlifted off, because I was like exhausted and tired, and there were certain things I didn't do correctly to train, and the backpack was really heavy, and everything that I remember and everything I learned was from the journey. The actual peak, yeah, it was a sweet like cherry on top, but like the cherry is ultimately on top of the sundae. The cherry is not like the most desirable part of the sundae, unless your name is Pac-Man. Like, yeah. So it might seem like I'm just repeating the same thing, and it's because I sort of am. But this idea of simplification, like, I think that really is the key, and it's just so hard to do when you have so much stimulation. So like, I'm trying to actively reduce the stimulation in my head, because I know that for myself, I know that there's a difference between causation and correlation. But for me, there is a causation and correlation between overstimulation and stress. It's like in the summertime, there are more shark attacks and there's also more ice cream sales. It doesn't mean that, there's a correlation, or there's a correlation, but it doesn't mean there's a causation. But for me, when I have overstimulation, I am more stressed, and there is a correlation and causation between that. And I think that that's the case for a lot of people too. And Like, so Cho, as you know, she broke her phone and she hasn't been on social media as much, and I've actually noticed a reduce in her stress. And that's why I was kind of saying like there's value in the journey, because if she hadn't dropped her phone, like, yes, that's an inconvenience in life to have to get it fixed and pay extra money and things like that, but it actually benefited her. So I'm kind of glad she dropped her phone, because it's like you don't know what you don't know until it happens. And that's what I was saying with the Mano paradox again. So like, she might know that stimulation is stressful, but until it's like removed from her forcefully, she wasn't able to like do it herself. And sometimes those inconveniences in life turn out to be blessings. So I wanted to say that. I had a lot to say. Like, in my notes, I take notes on a ton of thoughts that I have. And sometimes I stress myself out because I want to share them. But it's like, is this an ethos thing where I'm just trying to prove myself that I have thoughts that I think are worth sharing? Or is this just me, like, making more noise? So I think they're interesting. They're like on like how, I'll say a couple. Just one that I keep thinking is, I was saying the other day how children's material is super complex, and I was listening, specifically, this is connected. So I was listening to the Bare Necessities, and I was like, this is what I need to hear, literally, the Bare Necessities from the Jungle Book. And that's why I think children's material is so important, because it's akin to the ancient like philosophy, like the return to the ancient ideas, how it's like I was saying how valuable a lot of the philosophy in the ancient world was, because it's like we arrived at certain points collectively as a humanity, and then it's like lost in history and muddled throughout the way by being filtered, almost like a game of telephone. But like, we were there because living is not that, like, living is simple. Like, we're here, like, we make it complicated, and it doesn't have to be. And it not only does it not have to be, but I don't think it should be. Like, yeah, like, I should just be appreciating the rain right now and sitting in the garden, but that's not how the world is structured, and that's okay, and that is like, it's normal to change, but it's also like, this is kind of like crossing the line. Like, it's difficult because change moves in one direction. Change moves in both directions. Time moves in one direction that we know of. And it's hard to know when to change and when you had it right. And with children's literature and children's media and children's, movies and whatever, it's like we had it right. Like, I think a lot of the stories are things that have been passed down, so they're ancient in a sense, like, because like it's like heritage stories, but it's really the root and the morals that matter. This is kind of getting muddled, so I'm gonna stop here because I'm not really conveying it exactly how I want. But the point is that children's messages are simplified so children can understand them. But another result of that is that the messages are palatable for everybody, and not only palatable, but they're easily digestible. It's easy to understand a bear like singing about the life's simplicity than to maybe hear it from me, but maybe I'm providing a reminder to go back and listen to the freaking Bare Necessities to slow down. But basically all of this is just, I don't know, like, I'm like, for me, reconnecting, like sitting outside, feeling the wind and the rain and listening to the birds, like, that's a way that I can slow down and remember what actually matters. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter if my, I don't know, just insert anything that seems to matter, even though it doesn't. It's like you need to zoom out so you can see. You zoom out so you zoom in. I'm going to end it with this. Not for today, but Timothy Leary's quote, tune in, turn on, drop out. It's like you tune into life. You turn on to yourself and how you're meant to live, and you drop out of things that don't matter. That's not really what he was saying, but like maybe it is. I like that. I just like the counterculture kind of movement because people were making radical change in society that actually had meaningful effects and positive effects. Not everything was positive about it, but that's life, hence unity and opposition. But it's like tune in, turn on, drop out. Tune in to the world around you. Turn on to living in a real way. It's like you're not just living to wake up. You're not just something that's intended to work at some corporate facility. It's like, yes, you have to make money, but you don't need to understand yourself as a corporate worker in the deepest sense. Like, you're a person, you're a living thing that has things to share and places to be and communities to improve upon, and it's like you belong. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but it's not. It's like, no, you're here to make a difference. And making a difference, it doesn't have to be something immeasurable, or it doesn't have to be something measurable. It can be immeasurable just by making the people around you smile. That's enough of a difference. And you're also going to make mistakes, but the thing is, the mistakes nothing about perfection is interesting. That's it's like the diamond that we place value on in society has the most boring carbon structure. And while the diamond has value here because we give it value because it's rare, scarcity, it's like the law of supply and demand. We give it value. Isn't it considered, it's like meteorite poop or something on a different planet, like Uranus or something? But yeah, so there's nothing about perfection that's interesting. Anything that's perfect, no one really cares that much about because it's never going to change because it is perfect. So people move on. And all men want to know, starting from the metaphysics, we are all attracted to what's novel and what's new. And nothing that's perfect is new because it always is perfect. So that's a reminder that imperfection is beautiful. And I actually mean that when I say that. I mean what I say usually, but I truly mean that. And that's also kind of why there's a lot of things that I have to say about that. But I'm also saying it to remind myself that nothing perfect is, but there's a difference between things that are like striving for perfection, having a goal to reach a certain, level of refinement. That's different. That's something to be the guiding light for your change. But if it becomes an obsession in the sense of attachment and the Buddhist kind of like severing attachment and things like that, then that's when it's a problem. It's called what is it called? A perverted sense of attachment, or desire or something. That's when you have to, have yourself reorient and readdress what you're trying to do. So I really haven't succeeded in reducing, but I have been talking about the same topic for quite some time. So at least I'm focused in that sense. But I do have a lot of thoughts, and I guess I can't change how I am fully at once. So yeah, there were a couple other ideas that I have lost along the way of my train of thought, but such is life. Nothing's perfect, neither are these conversations. But what I hope is that they spur something in you guys, and that the continued conversation, like the end of Platonic dialogues, is something that pushes philosophy in the right direction. And philosophy, I just mean living the examined life in the Socratic sense. So you don't just mindlessly walk around the world, and no one's a robot, and why do we treat each other like we are? We're not. So yeah, that's another thing. Robots are intended to be perfect. They're not, and we get upset when they're not, but it's because our expectations are I don't know, that thought is kind of a loose cannon, but because I get super angry when things don't work as they should. So it's like some things should, like your expectations should, like we have a social contract. You have to uphold your expectations, but strive towards perfection is just a waste of time because we're not perfect. So strive towards perfection. That's not a waste of time. An obsession with perfection is a waste of time. There. See? Correct. Corrected oneself. Corrected me. Yeah. There was something else I wanted to touch on, of course, but I don't know what it is and I forget. And my mother's birthday is tomorrow and I'm going to be making a cheesecake, a birthday cheesecake with sprinkles in it. And I have a lot of wrapping to do tonight and I have some decoration to do and I will show it to you guys all tomorrow. And I planned her special day because this is how I show that I care, by putting a lot of my time into something for others. Hence these videos. That means I care about you guys, even if no one leaves comments. Please watch. It's not even just watch, but like just thinking about what I'm saying, I hope it makes a difference. Because that's the way that I can improve society, is by sharing the thoughts that I have to help others improve in their areas of the world, their corners of the world, der Ecke in German. But yeah, oh, you know what I was saying? Tune in, turn on, drop out. That's what I wanted to end this little segment with. Little segment, it's very long probably. My guess is like 25 minutes. But yeah, tune into the world, turn on to yourself in an authentic way. And by authentic, I just mean that you're living the way that you feel you should live. Not in a harmful way, please don't politicize that, but, and then drop out of what you feel is holding you back from actually just enjoying life. I don't know. Anyways, you can let tune in, turn on, drop out cycle through your head and tell me what you think in the comments, please. But I think it's applicable to right now. I think it was applicable to the counterculture, but because the words are kind of vague, it's almost like the Howl's Moving Castle thing I was saying. It's kind of adapting to the surrounding and its context. So that's interesting. Words can do that because they can't defend themselves, and that's why in Plato's 7th letter he said that he didn't really think that. That's why like Socrates didn't write anything down, and that's why Plato wanted to move away from writing as a method for philosophy. But the thing is, in the ancients' time, he couldn't pick up his phone and be like, hey guys, so I was thinking about this in the agora today. So anyways, I'm gonna go in the house, start the cheesecake, say hi to my Poe who's in there, and because it's raining and kind of like Coraline spring weather, still spring because it's not summer solstice yet. I actually am a spring baby. My birthday's in 2 days. Yay me. But yeah, we always play Minecraft when we were little. When it was rainy outside, and I told her I'd play with her, and there's one thing about my Poe, it's that she loves Minecraft. So that's all for now. Thank you for listening. That was a lot, but it makes me feel better when I am able to articulate my thoughts. Okay, that's all for now. Bye-bye. Okay, this is a little less philosophy based, but I love the smell of Biscoff. It reminds me of being on a plane, and I'm making for my mother. So she's not going to watch this before her birthday. So I'm making her Biscoff cheesecake with it's a classic cheesecake recipe that I got from the 1960s. Pomo, can you get the soap out of there? That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. It's a class, so that's why I like returned like the ancient idea. When I say ancient idea, I actually meant ancient philosophy, but when I say ancient recipes, 1960s is fine. So there's that. Yeah, I just smelled the Biscoff. They smell so good. And I'm going to give one to my Poe because she just washed the blender to make sure there's no onion residue. There's another tip. I'm already in a better mood because I was able to talk out what I was thinking. And there are like 3 videos that exist in my recently deleted now, full of ideas that you guys will not see because I'm trying to do simplification of my thoughts. Okay, that's all for now. One other thing that I just noticed about slowing down is, so this is kind of an interesting thing. Take this with what you will. I messed this up yesterday too when I said that. But when I was just blending the Biscoff for the crust, I noticed that when I have the blender at 1, it blended it better because they're bigger chunks, versus when I had it at like 9, like the super high one, it didn't blend it at all because it was going too fast. And that's kind of indicative to what I was just saying in the other video, where it's like when we take the time to slow down, sometimes life goes better, you know? And it's like you don't have to speed. Like not everything's a race. So why do we treat it as such? I don't know. We're not rats. Not all of us, at least. I do know some rats. And I have been a rat. Sometimes I'm called a rat still. But anyways, that's what I just got from blending the crust for my mother's cheesecake birthday extravaganza. That's all for now. So I have silence in the kitchen right now, which is actually kind of rare. And I was also thinking that the other day when I was talking about the age of information that we're in, while that is overwhelming, I also think that it does take a little bit of the pressure off, in a sense, when you reframe it in a way to understand it that way, because I was thinking like some of the insights that I think about where it's like, I was just thinking that like when you slow down in life, it's almost like you can see things more clearly. Similarly, like when you're like, you know, in that one scene of Cruella de Vil where she's like prowling and she's driving really slow through the barn and looking for the puppies, and she's slowing down to see life better. Like when we do that ourselves and we slow down to live better, and we reduce and we, you know, cut out unnecessary things in our lives that are making things stressful for us, so we can live a better life. Like it's almost like, what's the rush? Like there's so much information that has been shared and things that have been thought, and we're kind of just able to bask in the glory of, or bask in the toils of like past humans. So like Heidegger's philosophy with Dasein, he talks about like anxiety is what returns us to our authentic self from our they self. And when I hear things like that, I'm like, well, when I read things like that and then I think about them, I'm like, yeah, that's so true. And it's comforting because it's like other humans have noticed this, they've written it down, and they've put it out in the world. And it kind of is like a check mark. It's like when you have chores to do in the morning and, you know, someone unloads the dishwasher for you. It's like something off your to-do list. Like you don't need to make that wave in the world because it already exists. And when you talk about it, you continue its existence in the sense that like, so I always think that there are two types of deaths. There's a physical death, and then there's like the death of the ego, like in the sense that like you die physically, but you also die again when you're forgotten. And that is another complex idea that's discussed in Coco, but it's why like things like Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, I may have butchered that Spanish pronunciation because I didn't take Spanish, but Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, in, I think, was it October 14th? I don't know what day it's on, but anyways, like the giant festival for remembering those who have passed is to keep their memory alive, so they're alive in a sense. And it's interestingly connected to the Danny Kahneman like living self versus remembering self idea. But anyways, all I'm saying is that a lot of the things that we're trying to make motion in like have been made because ideas from antiquity, I think, a lot of times have reached the pinnacle of what we're trying to achieve. And that when we try to improve upon things, while it is possible, a lot of times it's just overcomplicating it. And what really should matter is adjusting to the context. So adjusting ideas to best fit how we are now. And that's what I'm not sure how, like, can that be done while keeping a lens, keeping a orientation towards simplicity, I don't know. And I'm really focusing on this simplicity idea because that's just what I'm focusing on right now. But yeah. I had another thing that I wanted to mention, to put out there. Oh yeah, and that's another thing. It's kind of like, it also emboldens you to like be yourself, because there are so many people and so many people who have lived, but you haven't lived before. So like, this is kind of like, like being vulnerable and accepting who you are as you are is important, because it's like the world only has ever seen you as you are. You'll never exist again, and like the chances of existing is so rare, and we know that, and we hear that, and we've been told that, but it's like, I'm gonna unplug this mixer before I cut off my finger, but it there really is like so many miracles at work, that like all of us exist and at the same time too, and that we're interacting and things like that. So it's like, just be yourself, I guess. That this is turning into like self-help, but it's true, and I'm reminded to just be me when I like, and by that I don't mean just like it's not like the Callicles notion of like the strong versus the weak and things like that, but it's more like be yourself in the sense that like, if you like that shirt, just wear it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. If it makes you happy and it makes you feel like you're going to live a better day and be nicer to those around you, then just do it. So that's kind of what I hope you guys take from that kind of short, not really that short, but yeah, if you like something, just do it. Just like it. Just like give yourself the permission to like things that might not be on trend at the moment, or maybe you're like, no, this actually is exactly the trend, and therefore I can't like it because I can't be, I have to be different. Like, just like what you like. And it seems like right now that if you do that, then you're already being different, because I think a lot of people are afraid to be themselves. And I'm not saying that I'm not, and I'm not saying that I'm also not afraid. I don't know. I think I've made a lot of progress towards just being myself. Like, sometimes actually right now, because I'm turning 22 in 2 days, I'm like, I should be doing this. What I should be doing is just doing my best, because we're all on our own path. And just because someone at 22 like did this, and it's just like the Colonel Sanders kind of chicken thing. Like, you're not too old to try. Everyone's on their own path, and it's easy to say, hard to remember, but that's why I'm going to say it a bunch of times. So my crust is going to be done in 10 seconds. And that means it's time for me to get it out of the oven, and time for you to be you. Oh, wow. Just on time. And it's done. Okay. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, that's all for now. So one thing I just did is I just had my last tutoring lesson with one of the students that I've been tutoring for 2 years, and he's graduated high school now. So it's interesting how like the things you complain about, where it's like, oh, I have to tutor today, like, oh God. But like now I'm like, oh, it's kind of sad it's over. Like I'll miss you. Like, I hope you do well in college, So yeah, it's like that bittersweet moment in life where it's things that are annoying in the moment, but you should, yeah, I don't regret anything as of right, and with regard, I don't regret anything. I don't regret anything with regard to the tutoring, because I was present when I did it. But I just thought that I should say that, because I'm sure that there's something in your life, or definitely in mine, that like feels like a chore right now, but don't miss, like, I guess my advice to me and to others who might need to hear it is to not miss the trees for the forest, where it's like, don't get bogged down in the little annoyances or inconveniences, like I was saying earlier, and miss the journey that's going on. So like, I became a better teacher through teaching him, because he's the first student that I fully tutored, like like truly, like, yeah, of course I helped out like my peers and stuff, but like actually tutored and made lesson plans to help him and made notes and things like that. And I was like, oh, he learns better when I do this and stuff like that. So I think I became a better speaker, a better teacher for teaching him. And although I was annoyed sometimes when he wouldn't pay attention, it made me better though, because I was like, he's not paying attention because he's bored. How can I fix this? So to you, if you're watching, your student, thanks for helping me be a better teacher. But also, I hope that you learned something from me. So there's that. And yeah, I'm still making the cheesecake. I was out of sugar. So half of it is going to be brown sugar. It's going to have a molasses, probably more caramely taste. But I'll add extra lemon just to contrast that depth with a little bit of, tartness. And I think it will turn out well. So when life gives you brown sugar, add more lemon. Okay, that's all for now. I had something else to say. With my reduction of stimulation, so I've been baking by myself in silence, but I am going to reintroduce like music as of right now because I'm feeling less stressed, and when I feel less stressed I can add back in music. But I've noticed that about myself, that when I start to feel stressed I need to cut things out, not add things in. And I don't know if that's something that like sometimes I like my own mom who else's mom, my mom adds in music when she's stressed, and while I do that too sometimes, I think a lot of times it's a quicker de-stress process if I just take away everything and I just let my thoughts like run free. Because I think it's akin to like backwashing a pool where you get all the junk out, like better out than in, but not always, but yeah. Okay, sorry. I'm not sorry, but thank you for being patient with me today, because like I said, I'm stressed because my mom's birthday's tomorrow. I'm probably not, like I said. I think I said that in a video that I deleted. But my mom's birthday's tomorrow, and it stresses me out because I show caring through time and contemplation of like the theme of her birthday and the wrapping paper I picked out and, the card that I make. And I make hand-done cards because I think that's important to show that I pour my time into it. That's something I really, really seen and learned about myself. Although I knew it, I just prove it to myself more and more every day that the way that I show that I care is to show it with my time. Like, that's why I cook for people when I actually like you. If I don't cook for you, just kidding. That's like, because cooking takes a lot of time and meditation. And I heard this really interesting thing from Liam Charles. He was on the Great British Bake Off, where he was like, baking is his way of slowing down because you can't speed up the process, and it helps him cope with the life that is so fast paced. That is seemingly the situation for everybody. So like when I bake and cook for people, and then when I take the time to give advice or to give my thoughts or to edit your essay, the kids I tutor and Cho and Bagoo, or to be like, I was thinking about you the other day, and that's why I thought, maybe like for Cho, she's really stressed about college, and I was thinking about her and how she can reduce it. Like when I sit down and think about things, that's the way that I guess I show that I care. I also like to give gifts, but predominantly it's my time. And sometimes I think it can come off as childish when I do like all these like themed things, but that's actually not, it's not supposed to be like a nostalgia based thing. The reason that I like come up with those themes is because I think that themes and like noticing systems and consistency and patterns and what have you is a testament to spending time with the material of whatever you're talking about. So like, again, with the Aristotle thing, but he had thought systems. He didn't just have like one hit wonders like the first philosophers. Like Thales said all is water, but that's all he did. Like Aristotle established systems, and that's a testament to his dedication to his own thought processes and trying to make the world a better place. by, you know, thinking. And that's what he could offer. And that's kind of how I see, like, so, like, yeah, that's just, I guess, yeah. So if I do things that look like they take a long time, it must mean that I like you. And if I rush through something, it doesn't mean that I hate you either. It just means that everyone has limited time. So I don't know, do with that with what you will. But I'm trying not to be as self-focused, but I also think that by understanding yourself, you can then understand others better. And one more philosophy thing for the road, but like, it's interesting because Descartes has his entire meditations based on his examination of himself, whereas someone like Heidegger has his entire philosophy based on the mass, like, homogeneity that he makes of the human species, which he calls Dasein. So it's like he takes one extreme of generalizing everybody. Descartes takes the other extreme of applying himself to everybody. But when you put it together, that's when you really create the whole. And that's, again, the unity and opposition thing that I come back to, and that we come back to every day, and everything in our lives come back to it, because that's like one of those like ingrained facts. I think that there are some philosophical facts that are like as fundamental to the universe as like the fabric of, like, as fundamental to the fabric of time and how the universe is as like the laws of physics. So unity and opposition, I think, is one of them. So yeah. Yeah, that's my thing about time. Probably not a thing, that's like a million things, but and I'm, again, with simplicity, I'm trying to focus more, but I'm gonna get back to the cheesecake. And it's a confetti cheesecake, like I said, I think, but I forget which videos I deleted, so I don't know, but yeah. I need to take a deep breath, and maybe I don't get music privileges. Maybe I think I'm still stressed. I'm gonna not play music right now. I just need to be with me. Okay, that's all for now. Another thing I wanted to say, and I am filtering my thoughts, but I do think this is worth saying, is so I was just zesting this lemon for the cheesecake, and I was remembering there is this one, I don't remember where I heard it, but it was in a documentary, but I don't remember which one. And it was about how there was this one Michelin-starred restaurant where someone just had a chef just zested lemons for hours and hours and hours. And I think that cooking specifically, but also in many sports, in like very detail-oriented, so also in medicine, actually in very detail-oriented fields, it seems that there's the focus on, it seems like it's perfection, but it's really not perfection per se, I guess. But I think, while I said in the other video that I think everything perfect is boring, there is value. So like with Aristotle's virtue system, like the virtues exist as targets, and like I said, you need a target for direction, and it's good to have an aim, but don't get bogged down in always achieving it, because there's value in just striving for the goal itself, not necessarily hitting the target every time, but just having the target, and like aiming for the target is valuable in itself. That's what I was trying to say about perfection, and now it's finally coming out kind of right. Not right, but just how I'm trying to convey my thoughts. And similarly to zesting the lemon, I was noticing that I was getting some of the pith in there meaning the cheesecake filling that I'm whipping. But like when I noticed that I got the pith in it because I was doing too much and not getting the rind, I was getting too much of the pith. Then I notice it and I correct, so I'm better aiming. So I'm still aiming at zesting the lemon as best as I can, but I didn't just throw out everything because I got some of the pith in there. I just realized that, I need to change how I'm doing that a little bit. And it's like that self-correcting ability that we all have is really what's important. And while the perfection is bad, because if I were going for the perfectly zested lemon, I would have had to throw out what I just did. so accepting the fact that I made a mistake is okay, and it's part of just making a human cheesecake, if that exists. But yeah, so I was kind of thinking that like accepting that we're not perfect, but still striving to be our best selves is ultimately all we can do. And we shouldn't be upset, we meaning, and I'm also saying we because I'm trying to remind myself this, but like you shouldn't be upset if you make a mistake because it's inevitable, and it just matters how you recover from the mistake. So it's like you get up, you fall down 8 times, you get up 9. Like that's the point. Like the point is that you're consistent with your improvement. You always are moving in the direction for improvement. And Bex Gentry on Peloton, she says like forward is a pace, and I really like that because it really is like just picking yourself up is what matters. It doesn't matter if you fell down. Well, it does matter. Like clearly failure has consequence in society. It's not that, the rosy of a place, the earth, but what matters is how you recover from it, because no one is defined by their mistakes. You're defined by how you learn from your mistakes, because you don't really win, or you can win. No, you don't really. No, let me restart. Again, mistake. You can either win or you can learn. So you can do your best, or you can learn from your mistakes and then still continue to strive to do your best. And that's why I talked about SMART goals in that one video, because it really, it matters that you have an aim. Not if you hit the target every time, but that you are aiming at the target. So yeah, again, I've said this idea a bunch, but I say it again in different ways with the lemon and with other things, because then I learn it better, I remember it better, and hopefully I can teach it better too. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get back to my cheesecake. I had other things to say, but I think the lemon thing was worth it. So yeah. And it's like, what makes it worth it? I guess that I think it's worth it, that I think someone can improve themselves from it. Because I guess that's really the core idea of everything, is just to be better. That's like on the Bombas sock. Maybe that's why I'm saying that, because I was putting Bombas socks, it says be better on the toes, and I was looking at my feet. Maybe I just subconsciously picked up their motto. I don't know. Okay. That's all for now. Bombas, if you're listening, I love your socks, and I appreciate so if you guys ever look, that honeycomb pattern, they donate a pair of socks to the homeless every time you buy a pair, so you should buy Bombas. But also, they have that like honeycomb pattern where it's like cupping your feet in different ways, and that's kind of the valuable like things that humans can offer, because like that was the other thing. It's like value in value. It's not like I don't want all this junk just to like muddle up my life. I want things that do their job well, and that's why I think improvement is really important, because you want to be a person that does your job well. It doesn't matter, like there's the quote from Martin Luther King that this is why I said this takes the pressure off, knowing that there are so many people out there who are and who have been, because Martin Luther King has this wonderful quote that says like you should show up and do your, I can't remember, I think it's in his, what's that famous thing? I don't remember. Is it Letter to Birmingham Jail? I don't remember. But he says that like if you're a street sweeper, then you should be like the best street sweeper that you can be. It doesn't matter what you are, just be the best you that you can be. And that's what I'm saying, like have the courage meaning like the root heart. Courage has the root of heart, cœur from French, but I'm sure there's a Latin connection too. But like you like be wholehearted in your embodiment of yourself, which is courageous, which is a virtue. Aristotle, all this is connecting, God. But like be courageous and have the courage to be yourself and be the best self that you can be. And I'm quoting somebody, but I can't remember. But anyways, that statement in the letter or speech or something from Martin Luther King is like be the best street sweeper you can be, has value, because it's taking the emphasis off of whatever job you're doing, it just puts the emphasis on how you're doing the job. Like, are you doing it well? Are you showing up? Are you, holding yourself accountable to improving and not ignoring your mistakes and just embodying the fact that we make mistakes, and the good thing about making mistakes is that we can correct and we can learn from them because you're not locked into any one thing. And while that can be scary, it's also freeing, which again is more unity and opposition. So this all comes together somehow. It's like making cookie dough, because all the ingredients are separate, and when you blend it together, it's even better. And it's more satisfying to eat it raw and not fully cooked, because then you get salmonella. Just kidding. But because then if you how do I connect this? It's more satisfying to eat cookie dough because it feels a little bit wrong, and things that feel just a little bit like you're getting away with something makes it feel satisfying. That's why I wanted to be a pirate or a robber, because I feel like I'm getting away with it. I don't know. How did I even manage to bring this back to myself? But I just love pirates and robbers, I guess. Or I just love Home Alone. I don't know. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. That's all for now. Okay, bye-bye. Although Poe doesn't watch my videos, as she should the second they come out, she just referenced something that I said about the epistemic comments, how it's important that we're not percolating misinformation in society because we live in an epistemic commons, because we're so interconnected. And she was like, actually, before I tell you what it's about, let me double check. And that's what makes me happy, because she listened to what I said. She didn't want to spread misinformation, which was based on what I was saying about it, and therefore she's changing her behavior to live better. That's literally the point of why I am trying to do what I'm doing. So thank you to my maybe they'll come back. Thank you to my Poe. That's also my thing. I always, whenever someone says something annoying, I'm like, hold on, I hope I don't fall over because I'm rolling my eyes so hard or something like that. And she just said a version of that, so I'm happy about that. And Cho should be happy because the cheesecake I'm smelling right now, it's in my mind. It's like invading my brain because it smells so good. So I made two. I made one, the birthday cake for my mother with the Biscoff crust. But the second, I made mini ones in cupcake pans because Cho loves cupcakes. And I was thinking about my Poe, and I was like, you know what? She always sits with me and she shows me time. And so I'm going to show her appreciation. And I know she loves graham cracker instead. So I made her mini cheesecake cupcakes because she likes cupcakes. And that way they can be frozen. Yep, Poe's nodding right now. And I did half crust, half cheesecake because that's how my Poe likes it. And I listened to her, and I know that that's how she likes it. So I didn't even need to ask. I'm not spreading misinformation because I know that's the truth. I also had another thing to say about truth. I think a lot of times people are afraid to be vulnerable, and be vulnerable meaning make mistakes and accept that we make mistakes, because if you understand truth as the uncovering, where you show something, if you're vulnerable and you make mistakes, then it's almost like these mistakes become a part of who you are because they're a part of your truth by showing them, which is again the phenomenology thing I've been talking about for a long time. But I think but that's okay, because everybody's truth involves mistakes because no one's perfect. So I wanted to say that because I was thinking about, I watched a long time ago, Brené Brown talks about vulnerability. And when people show that they are vulnerable, that's scary because it seems final in a sense, but it's really not final. It just means that you're finally embracing being human. So I wanted to say that. That was just something that was a residual that was around in my mind, and I wanted to say that because I do think it is worth sharing. Poe, we need to play Minecraft. Remember I told you I would play. That reminded me as well. But also, that's also why I think the words that we say are so important, because because when you have a thought, it's not really fully real until it comes out of your mouth. So just
Introverts believe that it isn't.
Okay, no, Poe, but it is true though, because when it becomes, I think it's a fully realized truth about you, because I think sometimes truth is relative in the sense that truth is just what we believe, whereas fact maybe isn't relative. But for truth is like your truth, my truth. I think that's why words matter, whereas fact is different than truth. Fact is maybe something that is more fundamental, and it doesn't change based on who is perceiving it. But anyways, when something is said and it passes the gate, which is known as your mouth, into the world, and it becomes a true fact, it becomes a truth in a sense because you're putting it out there. So just, that's a reminder to be careful what you say, be careful what you wish for. And I say that in the saying the magic words thing, but that's just a reminder that I think everyone should keep in mind. So even when you're really angry or something, try to remember that what you say becomes a part of who you are in a sense. So don't say things that shame yourself. Yeah. Not shame yourself, but maybe don't live up to who you want to be, because we're always moving and improving, as I've established. Or at least we always should be moving and improving. That's an ethical statement. Should, do, whatever. But ethical statement versus like metaphysical statement, like what we are versus what we should be doing. Thank you for your patience, Poe. Now I'm going to go talk to her about, what is it? Oh, a book. Because of the misinformation, because of the epistemic comments. That's the whole reason I said this. Okay, that's all for now. Bye-bye. Okay, so hold on, Poe. So the mini cheesecakes came out. They're a little cracked on the top, but it's okay. That means they're slightly overbaked, but I'm okay with that because Cho likes it a little bit more custardy anyways. It doesn't have to be as airy for my Poe. But it looks like a jawbreaker, and the color is bringing me so much joy. I told you I really love like colors and stuff. I'm not like whatever. What's that thing where it's like you hear music, synesthesia or something, like Cynthia Erivo or Pharrell Williams or Kanye West or whatever. I don't have that. God, no. But after I took a painting class, I genuinely see color differently, which that just is. It's true. Like I think about how I would mix it. But the way that these cheesecakes look, and I have a sour cream topping in the fridge with sprinkles on it, but they're like birthday cake. They're so vibrant and so happy, and I am so excited that they turned out well. Yeah, we had a few bumps in the road with the brown sugar mishap and apparently I added a lot of lemon, but I think the lemon will complement the buttery crust well. Yeah, I just wanted to record those cheesecakes because they're making me very happy. I think they turned out quite well. Okay, that's all for now. I'll show the big one when it comes out. That one, it's cracking. It is cracking. I didn't use a water bath, so, whatever. I'll cover the crack with the sour cream. That's the thing I also took from Christina Tosi, is that, like, it doesn't have to be perfect when she's like, why are we spending all this time? We're not in pottery class. Like, yeah. And also what matters is my intention when I make it as well. Because my intention was to create a wonderful cake for my mother. And one more thing, actually. Cho just said that when people notice her preferences, so like when I was talking about how I know her preferences, it makes her feel seen, which is like living her truth, which is the phenomenology kind of thing. Like I understand Cho in a truer sense because I see her, and she gets offended when people like mess up like basic things like chocolate or vanilla. She's clearly a chocolate lover.
Coffee or any other
any other drink. She hates coffee. And it's like when you don't notice little things about people, I think that can literally feel like such an insult, even though you don't even have to say anything, because paying attention matters. Like seeing people for who they are matter. And I know that you see people for what you can only see people for what they show, and that's again difficult, but it's also important to just take notice of small details as well. This is kind of coming off a little preachy. It's not intended to, but again, a lot of the things that I say as advice are advice to myself as well as to others, to live well. Okay, this is gonna be a really long video, I think, today, but hopefully you guys all watch it. Poe. That's all for now. Quick update of the cheesecake. There it is. Biscoff cheesecake. Lemon,
Brown sugar, regular sugar. Yeah. Okay, that's all. Okay.
I don't like when everyone watches
Those are
me.
the mini cheesecakes. Hold on. There are more.
They're a pre-birthday treat that I made for Mother.
Okay, hold on.
I texted you.
Okay, go on, Poe.
I don't want like to watch it eat.
No, I won't watch it.
Fine.
Okay, I'll just turn towards me. She doesn't want to see it. What do you think, Poe? Good? Okay, I'm glad she likes it. Good, good.
One more clip.
Okay, there it is. The birthday cheesecake. I'm probably gonna end it here because I'm satisfied with what I've done today. Sort of. But, yeah.
They have to sit. They need to give
I probably had more to say, but that's all for now. Tune in, turn on, drop out.
They said come tomorrow.
I don't know why I did that face, but